Welcome to the Landlord Diaries, where we talk about midterm rentals and the opportunities behind them. We'll share landlord stories, talk about maximizing investment potential, and discuss how to live the very best landlord life. This podcast is proudly brought to you by Furnished Finder, the leader and largest online marketplace for midterm rentals. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoy our content.
It's your host of the Landlord Diaries, Kelly Bailey and Katie Lyon, coming to you from the Furnished Finder marketing team and midterm rental investors ourselves. We get to talk not only about current midterm rentals today, but upcoming midterm rental projects with Karen. Katie, what were your big takeaways?
Yeah, Karen's all about opportunity and hospitality. So she talks about how she purchased another condo when that wasn't really on her radar. And then we also talk about her upcoming projects where she's making 3 very luxurious master suites that she's going to house hack with. And it's really cool to think just like a different take. Like these are like master suites. So thinking about the details and how she takes hospitality to the next level and is able to charge for that is a pretty interesting conversation.
Karen Lombardo tunes in to the Landlord Diaries podcast almost every week. She has 3 active listings on Furnished Finder, a 700 square foot ADU she added to her home in 2021, and 2 midterm rental condos. Karen is underway on phase 2 of her house hack, adding 3 additional midterm rental units to her place of residence very soon. Well, one thing I love about you, Karen, is that you're all in on the midterm rental strategy, especially with this ultimate house hack project you have going. Tell us about your real estate journey and what led you to house hacking and the midterm rental strategy.
Well, I've always loved real estate and I've enjoyed being a property manager of long-term rentals. And I had discovered a traveling nurse at a restaurant, and I ended up stumbling into Furnished Finder, and I saw properties there. And honestly, the ones that I had seen, I thought, oh, I could do so much better than that. I mean, a chair is a chair and a couch is a couch, but I felt I could provide a service that would make you feel more at home with the higher end feel of things, blackout shades, comfortable mattresses, nice sheets, good pillows. I saw pictures of beds with potato chips for pillows, and I thought no one's going to want to sleep on that, but they would want to sleep on something I could provide. So that's when I decided to convert the space I had in my, as it's called, a basement into an apartment. And that was phase 1. And it was designed to have another door to enter into what I'm working on now, which is phase 2.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to phase 2 towards the second part of the conversation. So let's dive into your midterm rental portfolio, and we'll start with phase 1. Tell us about, what were the challenges or the success stories in actually building that 700 square foot ADU, especially with the kitchenette. You had to make all those decisions. Do I add a kitchen? Do I add a kitchenette? What do I do? So what was that process like for your first midterm rental?
Well, it was challenging because I began in 2019. So I finally got the plans approved at the end of 2019 and headed into 2020 trying to find a contractor to do the work. And all of COVID happened and all of the challenges happened. And I ended up getting a contractor through a man I met that did my tile. And he said, oh, he can do your work. So I ended up finding Kenny to do the build out, another contractor to just redo my decking. And it took a while. I didn't get done until June of 21. So it takes a lot of patience going through all of the things. And one of my first tenants was a long-term. He stayed 7 or 8 months. So
love it.
I'm struggling to get my first review because there's no one's leaving.
Yeah, that's an excellent problem to have. And what was the decision like for the kitchenette versus the kitchen? Like you chose not to put a full oven or some of those features. What was that decision process, and has it affected the rental at all?
It hasn't affected the rental. And the interesting thing about the kitchen decision was because you're only allowed one ADU. So technically, this is an addition to my house because I have a service door access between our laundry rooms. So I can go right from my house into that space to do the servicing. And I do not like ovens, but regardless, I decided to put a cooktop in there and it has a convection microwave and a full fridge, full sink, dishwasher, all of that. So
The convection microwave is a great idea. I feel like if you're on a budget or if you have a smaller space, you're converting a space like you were, a convection oven or microwave or an air fryer, something like that. Like, I actually don't use my oven very much because I tend to use all these other more convenient appliances more. So there we have the technology today where you can get creative, and I think that's one of the best pieces of advice in real estate and property management and being a landlord is just get creative.
it really is. And Kate, it's a good point because I've noticed no one really uses my ovens. But once I discovered air fryers, I was Oprah Winfrey. And you get an air fryer, and you get an air fryer, and I bought one for my whole family. I started putting them in all my rentals. It's just been the greatest invention ever. And all of my guests, they love the air fryer. And on occasion they may use the oven, but everybody air fries now. All the small appliances, they make the space.
I like what you said about the ADU that you can only have one in California at a time. So it's what I'm recognizing here in this conversation is the importance of having the full picture plan in place for your property before you got started, because if you would have added it to this specific property, the ADU, 700 square foot ADU, then you would not have been able to add a proper kitchen to the three bedroom, three bath addition that is underway right now. Am I understanding that correctly?
That is correct. If I don't believe I would have been able to build out beyond what I did had it been an ADU, had it not been connected to my house, because my house became a 3 bedroom to a 4 bedroom. So yeah, so I learned all of that and I knew, oh no, this is connected, this is an addition, that kind of thing. So yeah, very important.
And we're going to get to phase two later in the conversation, but give us a 30-second preview or so, like that elevator pitch to keep people excited to stay tuned until we get there.
I'm building 3 master suites that are 5-star hotel feel and views and servicing. And I've never done it before. And it's the most gorgeous thing I've ever created.
I love that. I love that you've never done it before, but you're like, let's jump in. I think that's awesome.
The first space that I created, every single angle, light, layout, everything has been well thought out. For example, the living area is kind of narrow, but I wanted to make sure there was a full couch that you could lie down on in front of a fireplace and a television. So there wasn't room for end tables, but you always have to have some place to put your drink. So I built in a shelf in the wall so you could put your drink there. And there wasn't
Yep.
place for a lamp. So I built in a little soffit with the recessed light on its own switch that dims. So you could set your own lamp light.
It's that creativity. It's that creativity, man. I love it.
Yeah, we're going to continue that conversation in the second half. So thanks for getting everyone excited about it. Let's go ahead and talk about the mindset of house hacking, right? You're choosing to share your beautiful view and your yard and your space with other people. So how do you like landlording from the convenience of your home, and how do you balance guest interaction since you're on site?
It's been perfect. Every guest has been marvelous. No one gets in any other space. They always notify me by text or phone because they don't always know if I'm home or not. No one's been really super needy at all. It's been a wonderful experience. It's just convenient for me in that I can just run right over there and service instantly. So hey, Karen, do you have an air fryer? They wanted to make a big turkey for Thanksgiving. I said, oh, yeah, let me run one down. And here you go, borrow mine. So they're like a neighbor. They become my neighbor.
That's a great way to look at it because, if you're not having a room rental where someone's in the home with you, it's just like sharing a yard or sharing a driveway, like just like a condo or a duplex or things like that. So, speaking of condos, that's your next two midterm rentals. And you get a lot of your ideas from listening to the Landlord Diaries podcast. And one of those was the desire to find a 1-1 condo. So, what led you to add or purchase the two offsite condos since you already have, the big project at your own house?
Well, patience is a virtue, and I've got to say, waiting for construction to finish has been hard on me because I started the construction in 22. Here we are in 24, it's not done yet. And so I've been in business now, rounding the corner of 3 years. It's been over 2 years, and I've been doing this whole time without recognizing or realizing that there was a whole network of people doing exactly the same thing as me. So I soon discovered the Landlord Diaries through Furnished Finder and started watching podcasts, or I would just listen to them. And of course, Brandy out of Nashville, that girl, this is all her fault. So she, this girl's running this enterprise of 1-1s and just taking over Nashville. I got up and I said, oh, and I just started going through my phone. I said, I need a 1-1. And I found one and I called my agent and I said, get over here. I looked at it. I said, darling, I'll take it. And I'm I'm sitting in it right now. Um,
Yeah.
but
That's a
I
fun
ended up
story.
buying it.
Go ahead and tell them the story of why you're in that condo right now.
So we're trying to get my Wi-Fi to work and my internet speed, and it wasn't fast. And I thought, I know where I have really good internet speed. So I called my guest and I asked her, I said, can I come over your house and do my podcast? Because, do speed test. And she did. And I said, well, this is great. I'll come over there. So here I am in her living room.
Now, one ones are fantastic for midterm rentals. I know a lot of people think that midterm rentals are only for traveling nurses, and that it is a very popular use case for midterm rentals. And roughly a third of the tenants that you find on Furnished Finder are traveling medical professionals, not just nurses. It can be ultrasound techs, surgical techs, physical therapists, even doctors. It can be any type of medical professional. But that's not the only use or the biggest use case at all. There's so many, but a lot of these travelers are individuals, right? An individual business traveler, an individual who might be traveling for medical treatment or something. So they're very popular. About 50% of the inventory on Furnished Finder is one bedroom or a studio. We do have a lot of those inventory types, but there's also a lot of travelers looking for that type. So it's a really solid study if you're looking for like, what's my next midterm property, or what's maybe one to like dip your toe in, or like, they're usually cheaper too. If you're looking to purchase a property, it can be a lot more attainable. So I love that you took that and you were able to really run with that idea.
And it also helps as well, Kate, because you get all the amenities with these condos. I mean, this place has 3 swimming pools and 3 hot tubs and a fitness center and all of the things. So it really adds, to the value. And I bought another one across the hall.
So how are they doing? Are you happy with your purchases? What does it look like as far as investment goes for you and the operational side? How are you liking having those condos offsite as midterm rentals? What is your investing goals with that?
Well, it's working out very well. And again, it's about networking and getting to know people. The reason I ended up buying the one across the hall is because I got to know my neighbor. And because he would see me coming every week to do the servicing, and he'd say, what are you doing? And I'd tell him about my business. He said, oh. So he ended up texting me saying, hey, the unit next door, the girl moved out. I think the landlord's going to sell. And I thought, oh, I'm in the middle of construction and I just can't afford to buy another place right now. Like, come on. And then he sends me the link and I saw the price and my jaw dropped And again, my poor agent had to call her up. I said, we got to get this one now. And I got I got it right. I got for the list price and I bought it and it was under market by at least $100,000. So
Nice one. Nice
Wow.
grab.
That's amazing.
yeah, and you'd be amazed at how ready you can be to make a move even when you're not ready to make a move because I wasn't ready, but I found a way to do it. And acquiring properties is it's not an easy thing. It's not cheap by any means. It takes money. But over time you end up having other investments and things that you can manage funds from. And then of course that goes into building relationships and finding investors and so on. But I can't believe I got that other property. It was a Hail Mary and it worked.
Now, is that one that needed some work done and needed some sweat equity in it, or how were you able to get such a good value on it?
It was still 1972 in there. So it had to be Karenized. So it was just remove it and replace it. So it has all new everything.
Right.
Took down the popcorn ceilings and updated it. So it's very, very nice.
And you mentioned
Love it.
something that I wanted to make sure and hone in on. You said you show up to the property weekly, and what those listening don't know is you offer, like you said, like you've hinted at, you offer a hotel style midterm rental experience, not only at your on-site property where you live, but also at your condos where you offer the weekly linen services and restocking of the papers, toilet paper, paper towels, etc. How has that been for you? Has it made you stand out in the market? And I mean, that's quite a bit of extra time and cost associated with that. So are you 100% like, yes, this is the way to go? Or how's it going with that?
It's going great. And I feel I'm really focused on customer service because I feel, especially after the pandemic, during and after the pandemic, heck, even before, but more so after, customer service went to the wayside and people got hunkered down and people weren't taking care of each other, I feel, as well as they could. And I imagine or remember traveling and having to stay in a hotel for 2 weeks and the arduous process of this disgusting frying pan, and two forks and one spatula. And you're like, I got to make do with this. And the feeling of no comforts and all of the things that you just didn't like about it. But when you're working hard, especially, I know it's not all nurses, but when you're working hard, I had a tenant that was working 14 hours. He was gone 14 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week. And he loved the fact that he did not have to worry about clean sheets, clean towels. Oh my gosh, I ran out of toilet paper. No, you never have to worry about any of that stuff because it's always going to be there. And I'll run out the trash. If there's trash, I take out the trash, I replace everything. It takes minimal time. And I've looked into what the cost would be, to hire someone to do it because it's not actual housekeeping. We're just running in and switching out things for people, just it. And I know that my tenants also, they appreciate that because they know that I'm nearby and I have my eye on them, and if they need anything, it's you're not just dropped with a key and I'll see you in 3 months. You know that there's someone here looking out for you.
So did you price it differently because you included those services, or you went with just the whatever the market rate was for your area of California for midterm rentals?
I'm a little higher than market rate, and the feedback I've received from tenants, this is also interesting. The one that I'm sitting in, when I was in escrow, I was purchasing, designing in my head, getting everything together, loading up all of the things. And I had 8 days to put together the furniture, to have it delivered, to replace the appliances, all the things I did here. And the traveler, she was working at a refinery. She came from Texas to California. She had never seen the place, but she had read my reviews on my other unit. And because of those reviews, she felt confident with me and came sight unseen. And I'm not kidding you, the same thing happened with the one across the hall. And I couldn't put any pictures up because it was dark and dingy and it didn't have anything to take a photo of. And I have travelers that came from Texas, sight unseen, and they based it off of my reviews. I have tenants that came here and said, I found another property. It was less than yours, but I read your reviews and I saw what you do and I wanted to stay with you.
Now, this is an important point because getting reviews for your midterm rental on Furnished Finder is a little bit different, right? With the short-term rental sites, it's someone stays, they leave, they review. They stay, they leave, they review. But with a longer stay, it's more of a relationship and you need to be more involved in getting that review from that person. So you're going to want to ask for it, right? And you're going to want to maybe send them the link. You're going to want to help them through the process. And then you're also going to want to point people to it. Okay. This is the second part of the puzzle that I think a lot of people miss is when you're responding to an inquiry or a lead or you get a message from someone, put a little link at the bottom, like read my great reviews or check out our, latest 5-star review or something like that. Use that as some evidence to how amazing you are because you earned it. Right? Like you don't see a Girl Scout out there who's earned all these like 45 different badges and they're not wearing their sash. Like if you have these reviews to put on your sash, like show them off, use them, right? And share them with people. So I think that is just such a huge thing that a lot of times people forget to even ask for the review or they follow up. Remember, you have to follow up. You just have to follow up and make it easy for them. I like to thank them with a $5 gift card to Starbucks or a local coffee shop. Like, hey, you're all checked out. Cleaning went great. Here's your deposit back as an extra bonus. Here's a $5 gift card to Scooters or whatever as just, I hope it makes travel to your next place convenient. If you wouldn't mind leaving a review, here's the link. And then use it. Use it. Say in your listing heading that you have 5-star reviews or that you're top rated. Like brag a little bit.
Yeah. And also I ask before they leave. I don't wait for them to be gone. I ask before they leave, like, hey, oh, you now know that you can't renew. You're going to leave at the end of the month. And I'll send over the link and say, hey, I'd love it if you could leave me a review. And I do follow up to make sure that they do that, especially if they've already moved out. And oh, yes, I'm on it. And you've seen my reviews. And some of these people are just, they're poets. I was like, wow, you guys really write well. So, but yeah, I definitely am able to maintain the success thus far based on those reviews. It really is making an impact.
It's like the new way to get a card in the mail. Instead of getting that physical card where you get to, oh, I got mail. It's like review. Ooh, I got a new review. Let's see what it says. It's exciting.
Oh yeah, it is exciting. It is exciting.
Definitely. While we're on the Furnished Finder topic, I believe that you advertise exclusively on Furnished Finder. Correct me if I'm wrong. But if yes, what led to that decision?
Well, I had dabbled a little bit on Airbnb, and I'm not comfortable with Airbnb because I've been a property manager since 2006, and I'm more comfortable with an application that is signed with their information, with a copy of their caller ID, their work assignment, so that I can qualify them and know that I know who's there, and I know when they're staying and when they're going. Where Airbnb it's so blind. I just feel you don't necessarily know who you're getting. And sometimes you don't even necessarily know their names because their name might be on, their spouse's name might not be on their profile. And it's just a little impersonal. And I'm just not comfortable with that because I know all of the legalities of contracts and I'd like to have my own.
Yeah, it's Airbnb, the platform, and Vrbo, and we could say this about a lot of different platforms. It's a great place to put your property, and there's nothing wrong with having your property listed in multiple places if you're comfortable with each and every platform. The perk about Furnished Finder is there's no hindrance in that communication, right? So it's like you can call them, the potential tenant, you can have a conversation, you can do a tenant screening. Like you can be really, really, really comfortable with that transaction. And then there's no fees taken. So it works so well with midterm rentals because they're just different than short term, right? Just different enough where like you want to have that extra layer of communication and just like the settling of the stomach, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's more personal.
It is. It's very personal. And that's the thing is you're showing that in your hospitality too. Like this is very personal. It's personal to you on a whole new level with, house hacking, sharing rooms in your house and doing those extra steps that we talked about with the hospitality. But you're not able to get that on these platforms that it's almost like a blind booking, right? You might not even see their profile picture until they complete the booking. You
Hmm.
sure can't call them or FaceTime them or always do a tenant screening, right? It's like this really gives you the chance to feel like it's so much more of a relationship.
Yeah.
So, Karen, you've how many years have you been advertising at the midterm level on Furnished Finder? And what does your occupancy look like? Do you have a preferred gap amount in between? Do you like nightly flips? How do you operate it?
Well, I've been on Furnished Finder for over a year, or over 3 years. I'm sorry, like 3 years and 2 months, I guess you could say. So over 3 years, and my occupancy has been 100%. Um, Depending on some people's move in, move out. Someone might move out one day, someone moves in the next day, but I've done them on the same day. Just I try to accommodate the traveler. I had these travelers in my apartment in the house. They were staying in a motel, and as soon as my current traveler said, "Hey, my job ended, I'm leaving," I immediately reached out and I said, "Hey, you guys, you want to move in? You want to move in tomorrow? Because I'll get it ready for you by 6 o'clock." And they said, "Oh my gosh, please!" And they wanted to get out of the hotel, so I got it all set for them. They moved in at 6, so it worked. Those are challenging, same
Awesome.
day.
They can be. It's like at least it's done, and you get to put. The way I like to say it is, if I have too large of a gap, then I start thinking about what needs to be done. Like, should I remodel something? Should I, change out a piece of furniture? And then you end up spending extra money you didn't need to spend in the first place because you're
Right.
getting 5-star reviews. So I'm with you. I like the same day flips or 1 day flips, where you
Yeah.
get, just 1 day in between. So in regards to, just how Furnish Finder has been a beneficial part of your midterm rental business and really set you up for success. Our sister company, KeyCheck, with our suite of business tools that once you get someone that says yes, since we're not a booking platform, you need those tools in place to be able to take that booking request and turn it into, a completed booking through tenant screening and putting a lease in place, which is fantastic since your guests are over 30 days, taking that first month's rent and deposit, etc. So, how has KeyCheck been a benefit to your midterm rental business?
It's really helped when some guests don't want to put their social security number on the application or their banking information. They're not comfortable with that. So I always send them the link to KeyCheck, and they'll just go through there and verify through that process. So it's been really easy and no bumps, and everything comes back so fast. It's immediate.
Awesome. And I think if anyone wants to pay by credit card, you use KeyCheck's rent payments as well. How often do people want to pay by credit card, and has it been a smooth process for you?
It has been smooth. And I had one tenant that was at this apartment, and she did it the whole time she was here. So for her 3 months, she paid on credit card through KeyCheck.
Yeah. I always love that because I want to put anything I can on credit card to get those points.
Oh, yeah. Fly miles, got to travel or use it for cash back, either one.
Yep. All right. So let's get to this big project you're working on.
So yeah, you can only imagine the points I'm getting from the project I'm working on, and using my credit cards to buy material. I mean, I, buy it, pay it, buy it, pay it. I got more Kohl's Cash than I've ever seen in my life.
Nah. All right, that's perfect. So let's dig more into this. You're building 3 master suites, right? And are you going to rent them by the room? Are you going to rent them as a whole? And tell us more about like what does this project entail? Are you knocking down walls? Are you digging holes? What is happening here?
Well, I'm on a hill, so I'm building underneath my home. The holes were dug to put in the posts and the piers to support it and the foundation. So there's part of it under my house, and then the lower level with the kitchen and third bedroom are popped out into the backyard. Again, all on post and pier foundation. So it's all on a hillside.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. And reminder, you can get on the show notes on YouTube and audio podcast platforms and click on Karen's listing. They look great, and you can see her 700 square foot ADU on Furnished Finder shows that view she's talking about. So she wanted to create these 3 units so that she could share her view with others. And fun fact, I think you also are on that train of king beds only. So let's get into the theme and the design and how you Karenized Karenizing the property.
Yeah, all rooms have kings. I like the podcast about the kings only guy. And I'm like, all I do are kings, and it's really nice as well because not only if you have a single traveler, they may have friends come to see them. Everybody fits on the bed. And the other thing that I make sure that I pay attention to are you got to have a good sofa. You got to have a nice couch in the living area so they have a place that they can lounge and enjoy. So the two main things are the mattresses and the couches. So I always get a high quality mattress as well.
And you're creating themes at each of these 3 units. So tell us about those themes and how it ties into being in California.
Well, what I'm doing is one room is a beach theme. It has its own balcony, its own private balcony with a view of the bridges and the treetops. The room next to it is a golf course theme, and it does have some views of the water as well. And the one down below is a vineyard room. And all of the art that I'm putting in these units are California golf courses or vineyards or beach views so that you'll have a California feel in every room.
Karen, I've written down from a previous conversation, you have 5 tips when you are building a new rental and you want to think through the important aspects of what your guests might need. And you've already shared you like to have the 5-star hotel type service for your properties, and lighting was one of those. So let's go through quickly those 5 things that you wanted to make sure and touch on, starting with lighting.
Yeah, well, the lighting, I like to have the backlit mirrors in the bathrooms and the lighting in each area so that you can have a lamp or lighting to read a book, to make it dim, to have it bright in case you lost a contact. I want to make sure you can have any kind of lighting in the room that you need, and ceiling fans everywhere.
Yeah, ceiling fans are so important. And did you mention that you're doing backlighted headboards as well?
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, in the beach room, I'm doing the headboard is the veneer wood that I'm using as a headboard, and I'm going to put an LED light, tuck it around the back of it that is connected to a light switch for a plug. So when you come in, you can just illuminate the back of the headboard and when you come into the room.
See, what I think is fun about that is that's going to show off so cool in pictures, and it'll just give people something to remember, right? As they're scrolling through and all the properties look the same. It's kind of like, what makes you stand out? I know I live in a neighborhood that for some reason we all built white ranch houses. It was like we all went to the builder and we were like, we would like a ranch. And they were like, what color? And we said white. And they're not supposed to let you do that. But I think they got away with it because we all have like a different color shutter or something. But it's literally like, it looks like we live in the definition of suburbia. So I always have to tell people, yeah, we're the house that in the backyard, we have the slide coming off of our deck because I'm a little bit wild and I put a slide coming off of our deck. But just something like that. Make your property have the lit headboard or the slide coming off the deck. Do something to just be a little bit different and a little bit memorable. That's why we always remember like the funny commercials at the Super Bowl or, the shocking ad promotions. It's all about doing something to stand out in a good way and do something really cool and unique, you guys. It doesn't all have to be like white cabinets and, gray floors. You can have some fun with it, even if it's as small as throw pillows or blankets.
And you'll hear Katie say on other episodes, just her blue couch, like just having a colorful couch can be that little emphasis that you need to make your property stand out.
Yeah, and it doesn't cost much either because the LED light, you can pick those up online. You can get, just getting the right kind of lamps, like you said, pillows, just the little things, the throw blankets with
Yeah.
the right color, it can just make it cozy. And it's not a lot of money. It just makes such a difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
We've got a couple more to roll through. I'm going to combine two of them for tips when you're designing your home and creating your own midterm rental. You, Karen, do not like dressers. Instead, you do custom closets, and you don't like coffee tables. You do C-shaped tables instead. So give us your mindset and thought process behind those and where we can get those customized closets ideas.
Yeah, the closets, I get the drawer systems from Lowe's or Home Depot, and they're very simple. You just assemble them and you can put them in, and you've got an instant dresser in the closet. And that way, when you have a smaller bedroom, you're not trying to figure out where to put a dresser or, God forbid, thinking of anything less than a king size bed. So you can have your king, have your two night tables, and you need a chair. Always, each room needs a chair to sit on, and make the closet the dresser. And the C-shaped tables, I like that because I've had coffee tables before. I always run into them. They always hurt my shins. They seem to encroach on the space where when there's not a coffee table, now the whole room is opened up. And if someone wants to set up their own table or pull over that C-shaped table, now you can create the space as you wish and you can tuck it away when you want to, and it's not just stuck there regardless.
I'm with you. I love C-shaped tables, especially if you have a smaller living room. Maybe it makes it feel more open. But I like just to be able to lay down and stretch or do yoga or abs. So it gives you that space and a nice rug to be able to do that on. So one thing that you say, which we're kind of touching on right now, is envision yourself in the home. And really think, what are my guests going to need? So some of those is like, where are they going to put their suitcase? How are they going to be comfortable in my space? You already mentioned, where's the drink going to go? So what are some of those things that you make sure and touch when you're looking at each of these units?
Um, I always think in detail too of blankets and pillows. I have always a nice heavy blanket in each room. And I see some of my guests will, they'd like to have the weight on their bed, have an extra weighted blanket, have the spare pillows and blanket. Or if they're having guests and they allude to me that that's happening, I'll say, did you want more? I'll come over early. I'll give you more towels, that kind of a thing. Um, but what guests are looking for is a place that's clean, that's super comfortable, that they can just melt into and feel at home. And that's all I want to do. I want you to be a guest in my home, and you can be at home. So that's why my business is home to home. Sorry, that didn't come out that great.
Yeah. And lastly, for me, and then we'll let Katie wrap us up, is with any questions that she might have. But that idea of envision yourself in the home, keep it clean, keep it comfortable. We're talking about professionals that are working full time and have chosen to stay in your property as a place to relax and unwind after their shift. Sometimes that might be an overnight shift. We already talked about some, travelers working 14-hour days. So the last thing to touch on is those window coverings, and you want the hotel style in your spaces. So what do you do for your window coverings to make sure it can be dark any time of the day and look nice as well?
Yeah, all of them have blackout shades and curtains, so it can be nighttime anytime you want it to. And I wanted to mention another feature that I have in all of my properties are fireplaces. So the master suites, all have their own master fireplace in them, with the exception of the vineyard room.
And are those like electric fireplaces or
Yep.
like, okay.
Electric fireplace. They're beautiful. They're aesthetic. I would turn my computer on and show you one, but it's not on. But yeah, there's fireplaces in each one of the units. The suites all have them except the vineyard room because the way the footing of the wall. So I couldn't squeeze one in there, but there's one in the main living area. So yeah, adding blackout shades, the fireplace. Oh, and my other thing, because I am building my own, I put bathtubs. I don't do walk-in showers because some people just want to take a bath. And if you want to take a bath, the option's right there.
There you go. Yeah, I think this is important. You know, we can circle back to the conversation about catering to the tenants that you're there to serve. I think you really have to think about, right? And obviously Karen is looking for people who want a home away from home and a really good place to relax and unwind. When you're talking about bathtubs and fireplaces and extra blankets, right? It's that you're looking for that cozy environment. But I think you need to think about your tenant type. So I would give everybody that's their homework today, is think about what is your tenant type. Is it a medical professional? Is it a relocating family? Is it someone who's been displaced from their home? Is it a snowbird? Is it people who are home shopping and they don't have their home yet? What is it? Because all of those different people are going to have different wants and different needs. And one of the best things you can do to stand out is to proactively accustom your property to that. So I think that's like a great thing for someone to just think about. That's worth taking a beat and just thinking about like, okay, what am I going to do in my property? Because you'll hear, you know, Kelly and I talk about tips and little things we do. And we talk to all sorts of landlords like Karen who tell us their little tips. But what are you going to do that will maximize the impact on your tenant type that you're looking to host? So I think that's just the little homework I'll give out to everybody today to think of.
Love it. Love it, Katie Lyon. Great addition. Karen, if anyone wants to connect with you, how would you like them to do so?
My website is still in the works, but you can go to hometohomecalifornia.com, and the number 2 is for home, number 2, HOME, and California is just CA. So home2homeca.com.
Excellent. We'll also have your your Furnished Finder landlord profile in the show notes. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate y'all being here. If you're loving our show, please don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and share the show with a friend so that they can participate and y'all can talk about your takeaways from each episode. All right. Have a good day. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.